Hello and welcome to the Gin Weekly Update for Friday, April 13th, 2018. I'm Joel Yaste. If you're new to Gin and want to tell other people about the benefits of this club, we invite you to join us every single week on our membership overview call. Look for an email with all of the details, and if you're not getting our emails, send us an email to support@ginunited.com. That's support@ginunited.com. And now for our lesson of the week. Here is Dr. Tom Morter. Dr. Tom?
Hello, I'm Dr. Tom, and I'd like to just say wow and thank you for all the positive comments and emails and feedback on two things that we talked about last week. Number one is the concept of blooming where you're planted. It is such a critical lesson to learn to shine wherever you are in whatever circumstance you find yourself in, because circumstances change and you have the ability to help those circumstances change. So congratulations to you on that. And the second thing is the feedback on the communication webinar that Dr. Ted did, that first in a series that are coming to you. The webinar series that, of course, you get free if you registered early to go to Chicago. It's still available for you to purchase if you'd like to do that. Contact just support@ginunited.com if you want to know more information about that. And I want to talk this week about a couple of things. Number one, I wanted to talk and address the new joins, the new members that are coming into this club, because we're seeing a record number this month, a record number of people who are in the level 1 category, not necessarily new members, meaning you just joined, but you are at level 1. They are referring more people, whether it's because of the sponsoring bonus that we're talking about for this month, for whatever reason it is. Congratulations to those of you at level 1 for the new members that you're bringing into the club. That is the new life that comes into the club, and it really begins to enhance the value, which is something I'm going to talk about in just a moment. Those new joins that are coming in get to take advantage of the sponsoring bonus that Blaine and Dr. Ted and I came up with for the month of April. And that sponsoring bonus again is, if you join in the month of April, we are going to gift you one of the greatest gifts that you can get from this club, and that is a ticket to a major event. We're going to gift that to you free, no charge, for you to attend the event that's happening in Chicago the end of July. And the reason why that is so important is because it puts you in the group. It puts you in the energy. It puts you in the club, if you will, of people who are moving forward with their lives. People from all different walks of life, people from many different countries. When we did the sound off in New Orleans about the countries that people were from, it was amazing. You should have been there. Many of you I know were. The point is simply this. That is where decisions are made. That's where lives begin to change. And that leads me to the topic for this week, and that is, I am going to ask you to evaluate your life in this unit of time. And what I mean by that, this unit of time concept, is in the present, in the now, currently. How have you benefited from Gin? What have the wins been that you've had in Gin? Is it new information that you learned? Is it new relationships you developed? Is it the way in which you carry on those new relationships? Is it the way in which you communicate with people? Is it knowledge that you've been able to apply into the business world? Is it health that you have gained? Are there tips and programs that you've attended and learned, and lessons and information you've gathered to begin to make lifestyle changes so that you are winning at the game of life? So I'm going to ask you this week to just think about that. Stop a moment. When you get one of those, do a little fist pump. Do that little yes. Do that little pat yourself on the back, because you're winning. And that is such a tremendous lesson to be gained by joining Gin. I talked a couple of weeks ago about value, and I want to hit on that again, because I want you to understand how we view value in this club. You see, I believe today this club has more value than it's ever had before. And you say, well, now wait a minute, how can you say that? And let me explain. I believe the value, one of the main values of this club, are the individual members and the collective energy that they bring. You see, every single time you have a conversation with another Gen member, every time you send them an email, every time you send them a text, every time you go to a local chapter meeting, every time you get together with your fellow Gen members, every time you go to a major event, as a matter of fact, every single time you have a thought about a Gen member, you change. That is the value. You see, as you change, the like-minded people that you associate with, the people who've been reading the same books and watching the same webinars and going to the same events and listening to the same audios, those people are changing also. The one constant in the universe is change. It is ever expanding. You should be too. You should be growing. You should be expanding your knowledge base, assimilating new data, putting it into your brain and processing it. You see, because we have the ability to change. It's the blessing of humanity in that we have a brain, we have the ability, we have free will, we get to choose. If you're in a circumstance or situation that is less than desirable, just change the circumstance or situation to one that is more desirable. Maybe you can't, quote, fix it. Maybe you can't change it all in one day, but begin a movement, move towards something, and you will enhance that value. You see, as we all grow, we enhance the value of the club. We enhance the value of who we are in our own families and communities and relationships. And part of that is that we have learned in this club how to celebrate the win. And that's a concept that is much deeper than just the lip service of saying, I won, yay, congratulations, that's exciting, which is all good. It's just not the ultimate lesson of celebrating the win. You see, part of celebrating the win, sometimes the real win comes from a loss. Sometimes it's when you were doing something and you felt defeat temporarily, you felt like you weren't winning. Did you actually learn a lesson that you could apply later in life to celebrate a larger win than the situation that you were in when you had the feeling of loss or the feeling of defeat or the feeling of less than? You see, that's when you celebrate the win to a new level. Sometimes the win, the true win, comes from the quote loss, because it is in learning the lesson where the value is gained. If you can learn the lesson so you don't repeat the same circumstance or situation over and over and over and then pray for a different outcome and then become disgusted with the spiritual world, the spirituality world, because you think it doesn't work, because you keep getting the same old stuff even though you pray for a different outcome, part of it has to do with your choice and your action. What are you doing to apply the principles, the beginning principles that started with your wish is your command? The beginning principles that you learned in level 1 and you began to apply, and then you upgraded to level 2 and you learned those lessons in level 2 and you applied them, you thought about them, you felt them, you integrated them into your very being and your fiber and your vibration, and then you moved to level 3. You see, this is how this club works. This club now has level 7 candidates. It's only happened since January. That's enhancing the value of this club. When we meet in Chicago, we will graduate level 7 senior officers, and we will have a new frequency and vibration and a new added value to this club, because people are upgrading every week. People are joining every week. As I said last week, Gen is blooming again, and it is blooming again because of you, because you are beginning to apply these principles. At any level in this club, you can refer new members, and at every level in this club, you are. That, my friends, that, my fellow Gen brothers and sisters, enhances and adds to the value of Gen every time we communicate. Every time you email, every time you text, every time you have a phone conversation, every time you have a thought, a positive thought about the beauty and the value of the club that you're in. And Blaine and Dr. Ted and I are so very proud to be a part of your journey. I'm Dr. Tom Morter. Until next week, back to you, Joel.
Thank you, Dr. Tom. Another fantastic lesson from you. Well, that's the weekly update for Friday, April 13th, 2018. I'm Joel Yaste. We'll see you again next week.